Matthew Hunt, welcome back to the show, brother.
Hey, good to be back.
Yeah, it's good to see you back, man. You changed a lot since the first time you were on. I've been watching you online. You've gotten hostile. You've become edgier and a little bit more militant, man.
A little more, yeah,
I'm not mad. I like to see it.
yeah. I guess the world got a bit more messed up, so maybe we need more edgy voices out there.
I kind of think so, and you've probably seen me in recent days. I've kind of upped my edge factor. It's not to become edgier. I think the signal needs to become louder. I think we've got a long time, a lot of history where people have put up with some bullshit, a lot of bullshit in
Yeah,
a lot of different ways. Personally, I'm done. I'm done. The gloves are off. I'm taking all the swings. And if people don't like it, they can kiss my ass. They can not watch my show. They can, not follow me on Twitter. I really don't give a shit because I'm
yeah,
going to say what I think, and you're free to disagree. But I'm not going to pussyfoot around. I think we're far beyond that. This is really, really serious with the Epstein stuff, with the war stuff, just general government shenanigans. Like I've kind of had it, man.
yeah. I mean, especially right now, we can't apologize for, speaking what we think is the truth. I think, a lack of, speaking with conviction is a real issue. And I mean, you see it on X all the time. I mean, there's not really this genuine willingness to actually, you know, say what's unpopular, but it's probably true. And I mean, it's not just on X; it's an issue everywhere. It's an issue in multiple fields. So I mean, I don't think we should apologize for anything.
I don't think so either, but other people take a little bit of umbrage with some of the stuff I've been saying, and I think you do too. I think you see things maybe a little bit differently on the military stuff. So tell me, like, what do you think I'm getting wrong? Because I look at military members as grown adults, people that have volition, that make their own choices, that decide what they're going to do, and they act. Right, they're not some sort of passive automaton that just gets moved around. And I hear that language a lot. It's always like the government sends them there. They send them there to do. It's like that's not really what happens at the end of the day. At the end of the day, there's a human being that. Cause I'm military, ex-military. I know what this is like. You live in your place and you get up in the morning and you do PT and you drive somewhere. And when they say you're getting deployed, it's not automatic. You could not do it. Like the COVID shots. Yeah, there's consequences. Yeah, if you decide you're not going to take it, if you decide you're not going to mask, if you decide I'm not putting up with this bullshit, sure, there's consequences. But there's nothing in the world stopping you from saying, no, I'm not going to go over to Iran and kill innocent people just because the government can't handle the Epstein situation. They need a distraction. Everybody knows that that's what this is. This is that. Plus, we're doing Israel the thing that it's wanted to have done for 47 years or whatever. Like this is something that people, in my view, people of conscience have a responsibility to say no. If you're actually pulling the trigger, you're pushing the button, you're firing the missile, you're blowing people up, you're killing people. That's on you. That's not the government. The government just doesn't send you passively. So tell me where I'm wrong, because I think people take my view. They kind of pearl clutch and gasp quite a bit, and I think I don't go hard enough in the paint about this. I think if anything, I'm being too reserved. So what do I got wrong?
So I think that I think we're making the situation black and white, where I don't see it as black and white. I think that with regards to people joining, I know on the when we were talking on X, you brought up like people should understand the past 25 years of foreign policy and then come to their own conclusion. And what I would say to that specifically is, are people really going to grasp the implications of the past 25 years of foreign policy? Because I mean, I wasn't alive during 9/11, but if you look back during like the 9/11 days, I mean, imagine, obviously you were alive then, but I mean, seeing that on TV, and this is like something that's never happened before on this scale. And, what are people's immediate reactions going to be to that? How much propaganda are they susceptible to? And I think it's a lot, especially, the people signing up are, people in my age group. I mean, there's a lot of people in my age group that don't understand, like the Israel thing, right? They don't understand that, what Israel wants, that Israel is, buying out our politicians. They're, we're doing their bidding. People in my age group don't get that. And, they also, there's also other reasons too, with regards to why people join. I think that, everyone's situation is different. We grew up in a culture that told you that, your best option is to get a 4-year degree and go to college. Well, if you're told that, from a very young age all the way up until the time you graduate, and you don't have a college lined up, the situation can seem very, very helpless, Uh, and, flipping burger patties right out of high school, that's not something that is an option for a lot of people, They have to provide for their families one way or another. Everyone's situation is different. They don't always have a college to go to right out of high school. They don't always have, that plan. And I think, you know, uh, they can naively join, get themselves into something that they might not have all the facts, or they might not understand all the facts.
No argument there, because I was that kid.
Yeah.
Recruiters are evil. They're the scum of the earth. They prey on a lot of kids that don't have a lot of options, and they promise them a bunch of things that are complete bullshit. And I'm not saying kids aren't propagandized into this. My point is, like, they're morally culpable. You're responsible for your actions, regardless of if you were, society has, inculcated you with these crazy ideas and stuff. Like, for example, Matthew, would you take the hijackers of 9/11 and give them the same pass that you would give people in the U.S. military? Would you say, well, yeah, gosh, they were, from the time they were little, man, they had to pray 3 times a day to Mecca, and they had this Islamic propaganda shoved down their throat, and they were told from a little age that, man, it's the best thing ever. You get the 72 virgins or whatever the thing is, right? Would you give them that same thing? And not even that, but would you then pat them on the back, or not? Obviously, they're not the hijackers, but if somebody committed a bombing of some sort, would you say, well, gosh, they were propagandized bad? No, by the way, thanks for your service. Like, would you pat them on the back and lift them up and buy them a dinner if you see them out, or let them board the plane early, right? Do you get my point?
So I don't know if it's necessarily the same situation with regards to the hijackers. And obviously there's a little the official narrative of 9/11 is probably not true, but it's
Yeah,
different.
leave that aside. Leave that component aside. Let's just take the default
But
explanation.
I mean, put yourself in the shoes of somebody living under the Iranian regime. I mean, that is a very, very, difficult situation to be born in, right? If you're a woman,
Hmm.
the Islamic rules against women are absolutely heinous. If you're a male, you're born and basically to serve this regime that, um, you know, uh, they say, death to America. And I mean, it's their right to say that, but, they still have this very, hateful ideology towards, other faiths and other, groups. And if they're grown up into that and they, God forbid, they end up, stateside and they commit an atrocity such as a bombing, the act itself and the outcome of the act is unchanged, but it's important to understand what exactly led to that act being committed. What were the events leading up to it? What are all the factors? And I think, with regards to the U.S. military, I mean, what are all the factors? I mean, um, what is the situation that they were, you know, put into? And I know that you might say that, they put themselves in there, but I don't know if it's entirely black and white like that.
And I don't mean to say it's black and white. Like, I'm acknowledging, right? Like, both sides. I think it's a good mental model to sort of put to apply the same standard you would apply to your in group, your countrymen, your neighbors, right? Because morality and ethics, like that's universal. Like, that's not something that changes from location to location. Like murdering people is wrong, raping people is wrong, stabbing people in the neck is like it's wrong, no matter who does it. You can understand the factors that played into it. Like you can understand somebody had, let's say, had a really hard childhood. They got abused as a kid, and they developed mental disorders, and they developed drug addiction problems. You can understand it, but what the core of my issue is like, was it good, right? Is what they're doing good, or is it evil? And if it's evil, why are we not condemning these people, right? Providing social ostracism and pressure and saying what you're doing is a bad thing. You're committing acts of unspeakable evil. Stop it. As opposed to thank you for your service. No, you go first. The sort of like fawning all over each other that Americans tend to do with respect to military people. That's the thing that bothers me. And I think that social pressure could be something that we could use to change outcomes here. Because I think we are complicit as a society in a great evil, and I'm trying to change it.
Well, so the mission statement of the military is for the common defense of the nation, right? That on the surface level is a very noble cause. In the past, it has been a noble cause, right? War of 1812, we were invaded, and there's justification for getting involved. British invaded. A civil war, country split into two. Then you get into like World War II. The Nazis were a very real threat. The Nazis were committing atrocious crimes, but with my whole thing is the people in DC have they've corrupted what the mission should be and what the mission originally was intended to be. And for someone joining the military, they join for the defense of the nation. And, not everyone can sit back and say, well, maybe this Iranian war is not for the defense of the nation. There can be a level of ignorance there. And whenever you're at that level, you're taking orders, you're in this situation where you are at the bottom of the food chain. What are you going to do? And most people are going to listen to what Donald Trump, Marco Rubio, whoever else says. And if you're in that kind of chain of command, I think it's only natural. I think it's natural for humans to listen, given the situation. And, that is not me endorsing the war against Iran. That's not me endorsing the Iraq war, Afghanistan, Vietnam. Because I don't believe that any of those were justified by any means. But, at the end of the day, I do think that the soldiers are just that. They're soldiers. They're following orders. They joined for this cause, and the cause was corrupted. And I don't think it was their fault it was corrupted.
So would you say that about Nazi guards and like the SS, and they're just following orders?
Well, again, I think that does not with the whole Nazi thing. Again, the acts were heinous, but the situation was against the guard. It was against the pawns, essentially. Nazi Germany was a fascist regime. I mean, a lot of them were probably forced into it. And, if they defy Hitler, if they defy the leadership, the Reich, what's going to happen to them? What's going to happen to their family? And again, that's kind of an example of the situation not being black and white. I mean, what could have happened to them and their family if they defied Hitler?
Yeah, but we had the Nuremberg trials, and that was specifically not a defense, because they tried that. They was like, oh, I was just following orders. And It's like, you know what? At some point, we're all humans. Like, you have humanity. Like, you have autonomy. You can choose one way or the other. And I don't buy that, man. Like, I don't buy that for anybody. I think that is one of the easiest ways for human beings to lose their soul, and society at large to lose their soul. You know, and I see this manifest on Twitter now. It's like we have, like, if you watch this crazy shit, like these people are just on both sides, like are just cheering. They're laughing. I see people like, oh, like, you know, these missiles are raining down in Tel Aviv, and people are like clapping, and there's like, oh yeah, it's like, God, it is ghastly. And I think people that aren't in it, they treat it like a video game. But as somebody who's been inside, who actually signed my name on the dotted line, saying like I'm putting my life on the line, uh, you know, I don't have the same perspective on it, right? Like I
Yeah.
understand how deadly serious this is, and what it's like being in a, you know, a situation where you could clearly lose your life, or might have to take somebody else's life and have to live with that for the rest of your life. And so that for me, I'm like man, like I really bristle at this idea that they just know the person that is actually performing the action, whether it's blowing up somebody or shooting somebody or whatever, like they have the least amount of moral culpability. Like I can't buy that. Like that doesn't square for me.
Um, you know, to go back to the discourse on X about the war, I mean, I find it absolutely disgusting. I think guys like Lindsey Graham and Ted Cruz do not, well,
Oh,
maybe they do understand it, but again, it's very evil, you know. Even if this was, you know, a situation where we had to defend ourselves, even in that situation, you should never, ever celebrate the fact that another human being has died, whatever the circumstances may be. But you know, guys like Lindsey Graham, they either don't get that, or you know, they do get it and they're fine with that. And I think, you know, you and I both know what the answer to that one is. But then you have kind of the lower level influencers like, you know, Brawlin Hollyhand. I know you know who he is. And
winks for Jesus.
yeah. And I mean, he's on Twitter. I don't, you know, he's my age. I do not think that he understands, you know, what he's advocating for. I don't think he understands what the implications of, you know, the Iranian war actually is. And I think that's sad. I don't think it's necessarily his fault entirely. I think it's half and half with that. I think, you know, if you kind of read into, you know, like his rise to prominence, you know, um, he was very much, in my mind, groomed by Turning Point.
Well, for
To
sure, he was
you know,
astroturfed as hell.
yeah, to be this, you know, influencer. And you know, I think that grooming has kind of led to the situation where he's not going to see, you know, he's not going to see it for what it is. He's going to see it for what the party or what the organization tells him. And then half of it, you know, there is that kind of human aspect that probably should say that, you know, it is wrong. But again, I mean, it's, you know, there's two forces at play here. And, um, you know, I think that kind of makes the situation a little bit more complicated. Then what was your second point? Kind of,
I honestly don't remember. I'd
yeah,
already you got me thinking. You got me thinking about that Hollyhand kid, and I just like I
yeah,
started seeing red.
yeah.
A question, like, what do you think about Turning Point now? Like,
I,
that's a whole can of worms I wanna poke at.
yeah. It I I appreciate some of the work that they've done, especially under Charlie. I very much appreciate the pro-life work they've done. They've done more for pro-life, you know, with regards to abortion, than most other organizations, and I will never take that away from them. But I think after Charlie died, or even, you know, before, I think that the wrong people started, you know, taking control in certain aspects of the organization. Did you see the video of the Turning Point employee who got fired, and she
Oh
kind
yeah,
of, yeah,
oh
and she
yeah.
gave like a little insight into why she you know, thinks the organization went downhill, and part of that was, you know, right before the assassination, you know, a year or two before, you know, the wrong people started, you know, taking higher positions of authority. Charlie stepped back from the CEO role a bit more, and I think that kind of ruined the organization. Now, I do think that when it was first created, a lot of it was definitely to be a propaganda machine for the right.
Hmm.
Um, I think Charlie, I think he was in a lot of ways kind of brainwashed into that, or I think one of his biggest flaws was, he put too much trust into the party, and I think Turning Point is kind of a reflection of that aspect of him. And I respect Charlie Kirk in a lot of ways, but that was definitely a flaw with him, where he looked at the party, he looked at Trump, and he didn't look at anything else. And Turning Point became a reflection of that. After he died, I'm a little torn on the Erica Kirk thing. I cannot imagine being put in the situation where, your husband is assassinated in front of the entire world. I mean, that is, absolutely terrible. But then you look at like the reaction, and I understand people, grieve in different ways.
Everyone grieves differently. Yeah.
But it's like it's just very odd to me,
Dude, not just to you. Hold on. This is I think the most important. Everyone dances around this one because I think we can all, and I think the whole world afterwards was like, holy shit! Like, this is awful, and everyone felt really terrible for her. She caused this, right? I think human beings are great. Like, we're a social animal, and we all, society, especially for like high profile people, when there's a lot of eyeballs and we're all observing as a large group, there's this distributed computational mechanism. Like, we look at this and we sort of tune in on, is this okay? Like, is this right? Or is something really off here? And everybody almost immediately started saying, Roy, there's something very off with this chick. And I think the more information's come out and the more the lies have been exposed and all of the dealings of Turning Points and all this stuff that's really gross that's under the covers, I think everybody is kind of like rightly stepping back saying like, whoa, like, what the hell is going on? Like the grieving differently thing, like we all get it. But when you start doing, calling your husband's funeral the biggest, the event of the century, and bragging about how much merch sales you have, and you're doing, it looks like a fucking WWE thing with pyrotechnics, and it was so fucking weird. It was so tacky. It was so bad. And the whole world was watching her saying, something doesn't sit right in our soul. Like, we're literally looking at this going like, something's really wrong. I don't claim to know exactly what's going on, but the come to find out that she's sexually grooming, ninth graders as a 25-year-old woman. And if you look through the Romanian Angels things is sus as hell. Like, and I'm not trying to go, I'm not a Candace fan either, but there's so much smoke around this. And I'm not even smoke, that's fire. Like, those messages sent to that ninth grader, that was disgusting. That's sort of.
I think the Romanian Angels is what kind of did it for me. I was like, that, and then like the connections with the Trump pageants, and it's like that's weird, Like,
well, yeah, and it's important to note too. Trump pageants were linked in with Jeffrey Epstein and Jean-Luc Brunel, right? So, who was a very, very famous Epstein associate who got himself suicided in a French jail. These are all tied together, and that's really, really important to note for sure.
Yeah, I mean, those connections are weird. Then you kind of ask the question, like, was her and Charlie, was this like a pre-planned thing? Like, was someone pulling the strings in the background? And that's kind of where I'm at. And then with the aftermath of him being shot, again, I mean, the whole WWE thing, like you said, I mean, it's very strange. I think I didn't watch the event, I saw clips, but it just, I mean, the whole thing was just, basically them just hating on the left. Like, if you watched like Stephen Miller's speech, I mean, it was just him, like, and this is like a memorial service for a dead person, and he's sitting there like, saying the left can't build anything, you guys can't build anything, we're the nation built, this and that. And it's like, this is not appropriate for a memorial, And then Trump's speech as well, which, one, I don't understand why his speech was last. Erica's should have been last, but his speech was, I'm sorry, Erica, but I hate my enemies. Like, come on. Like, this is a memorial service for somebody that got you elected, who got assassinated, and you're up on stage, telling his wife that you hate you're defying what he said and saying you hate your enemies, and like, and then also he was like, I don't know if he like talked about the ballroom. He talked about something
Oh,
as
well,
well.
yeah. I was going to
Yeah,
bring this up exactly. Is that he was asked about Charlie Kirk by the media,
yeah,
and he wouldn't even look him in the eye. He turned away and he pointed to where they're building the ballroom and started talking about the ballroom. It's like that's fucking weird, man. Like
yeah.
that's
It's the same like pattern over and over again with him. I mean, he gets asked about Epstein. Our nation is doing great. We're the hottest nation in the world. You know, like it's completely unrelated. Answer the question that you were given, right? Um, read the room, which he obviously can't. I don't know if that's like a mental thing with him or like if there's something with that or if he's purposely deflecting. It could be a combo of both.
I think
But
he's
yeah,
got dementia. I think he's clearly got dementia. I think it's
yeah,
accelerating. Like
yeah. I
he's
mean, like
going.
yeah, you look at like 2016 versus now. I mean, look, like Trump or not, he was pretty sharp, you know, in some ways. I mean, like if you look at like the debate with him and Hillary, like he had like zingers, you know, with like the Rosie O'Donnell thing. He did the comeback with Hillary saying she'd be in jail. Like that's a, you know, quick thinking. But now you know, you listen to him now, it's just like almost like Biden, you know, it's like just the rambling you know, he doesn't look healthy at all. There's bruises, random ass bruises all over him, you know, and they're giving dumbass excuses. Like he shakes so many hands.
Shakes everyone's hand. Yeah, it's like
Yeah, because
he takes
shaking,
aspirin.
yeah, shaking that many hands is going to make your hand like purple and black. Like, I mean, it's insane. And I mean, that's just, you know, a very big red flag with me for him. I mean, anything that's ever brought up, it always gets turned into the same talking points. And, you know, the ballroom, the economy, which is not doing well, but he says it's doing well. You know, we're winning.
What do you think about Shlomo Pearl? Remember that thing where he posted on his Truth Social account?
What was it?
Shlomo Pearl. When Charlie Kirk died, it was like almost immediately had this AI generated image, this huge banner that was up of Trump and Charlie Kirk embracing under an Israeli flag, and it said Charlie Kirk, and it said parentheses Shlomo Pearl, and like a friend of Israel, and it's like
I didn't even
that was
see that.
you didn't see that? Oh my god, I'm gonna have to
I
send that to you.
Yeah, I did not see that. Yeah, definitely send it to me.
I'm
I'll
gonna
have to
send it to
look
you right
at it.
now.
All right. Yeah, I mean, it's just like he doesn't know how to read the room. He's got something mental going on with him. It's always something.
All
Always something.
right, hold on. I just got to do this now. I'm gonna send this to you.
No, you're
Oh
good.
damn, it's gonna make me do this. All right, there we go. Yeah, check your X chat, man. I can't believe you didn't see this. This came out like right away after
Oh
he
wow.
was killed.
Shlomo Pearl.
That's weird, right?
Yeah, that's just.
And
Yeah,
especially if you look up what Shlomo Pearl means in the Jewish tradition, like or what it was. It's basically a schlub, like a patsy, an idiot, like a useful idiot. That's what a Shlomo Pearl is. Is it's just like
wow.
what?
I'm surprised I did not see that. That sounds like something I would have seen, but that sounds like something that more people would be talking about. But you know,
Well, I talked about it at the time, but I don't know. People
yeah.
don't really see my shit. Like the X doesn't like, definitely doesn't like me anymore since I started saying true things about Mr. Epstein, Elon.
Oh yeah.
He's. What do you think about
No,
that, man?
what was it?
Well, Elon's Epstein stuff, like begging to
Oh,
get on the island. When's the wildest party? And going to dinners with him as late as the beginning of Trump's first term. Like,
yeah.
but him's like, oh, I never did anything. It was he had tried to get me to come and I refuse. It's weird.
Yeah, no, he got caught. He got caught. Uh, I mean, I'm not surprised at all. You know, Elon has connections to Peter Thiel, and we know Peter Thiel has connections
Mm-hmm.
to Epstein, and you know,
You know
uh,
that's actually Epstein's estate's largest holding. This is
really,
Peter Thiel. Yeah, yes,
wow.
they were VC. They were early VC in Peter Thiel's Palantir ventures.
Yeah, see,
And
this is something that more people should know about. It should be talked about more. Like, and we know the Palantirs, you know, doing all the deals with the Trump administration with regards to AI and the surveillance state. It's like, ugh, it's
Yeah.
ridiculous. But
Yeah.
Elon, my initial thought about him was, he's a misguided kind of guy, but then the Epstein stuff came out, and it's like, all right, this there should be no remorse for him. But my initial thought was like he trusts technology too much, with the whole Tesla cities idea, the self-driving taxis, and AI and trying to get to Mars and stuff, and it's like, I don't agree with any of that. I think it's a net negative to society, but maybe he's just misguided. But then the Epstein stuff comes out, and it's like, well, there's definitely an ulterior motive. So
Yeah, for sure. What do you think about his original tweet saying that, hey, Donald Trump's in the Epstein files?
yeah,
He was the
um,
first person to let us know.
yeah. So my initial thought with that was that Doge found evidence of it, and that kind of led to their falling out originally. Because there was some other stuff with the falling out too. I mean, if you look at the timeline, that was right around the time they were trying to pass the big beautiful bill,
Yeah.
and
And Elon
Elon,
was not liking that at
yeah,
all.
Elon called, and he rightfully so. He called it out, rightfully so, for being another CR. It didn't cut any spending whatsoever, and
Whoa, 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 whoa. Not only did it not cut spending, it massively increased spending.
yes,
Let's be honest here. Let's be
yes.
clear.
Yeah, it increased spending, and there's a lot of other issues too. Like for example, the no tax on tips that ends. Like that ends. All right,
Yep.
it's not permanent, which is insane to me. I don't understand how they got away with that one, but so my initial thought was he found evidence, and that probably was a factor to the falling out. But then if he really believed it, maybe he knows, but I mean, if he really had a conviction against it, then I feel like he would not have made amends, because if I found out that, my business partner or whatever,
Loss is a
is,
PDF, man.
yeah, if I found that out, I wouldn't make any amends. I mean, that's a done deal. Like, I would turn him in. I would do everything in my power to get that individual behind bars.
Yeah, but we know what happened, man. We
Yeah.
find out that Grok is now being used by the federal government. There's
Yeah.
contracts in place. Starlink, we're finding out these drones, the autonomous drones are using in this war against Iran. Oh, they're equipped with Starlink. Like,
Yeah,
guess what?
the AI stuff is just getting ridiculous, especially with the Department of Defense. I mean, um, the where their Hegseth like every other month is like, we're implementing this new AI system, we're doing this and that, and it's like, why don't people care? Like, why aren't people like? Has nobody ever watched like The Matrix? Has nobody ever watched like Terminator or literally any dystopian piece of fiction ever? I mean, it's ridiculous.
Well, also, I think there's a lack of understanding from the left side of the bell curve people. No, no shade. Like everyone gets born with the IQ they're born at, but to try to comprehend something like what are the second and third order effects of AI? How is it going to potentially be used in a nefarious way? And ask like the blue collar dude who works on cars all day to comprehend like what that's going to look like, but people can't, and they're trying to figure out how to use it in their life. Everyone's using Chat GPT to do their fucking homework, and they can't think like what's the future going to look like. I don't think people have that ability by and large, and so I
Yeah,
think a lot of this stuff, and also there's so much information out there to try to understand like where all these contracts are, where's the government using AI, how is it used by the Pentagon, how might that be misused against us. Most people aren't that deep in the weeds. Most people are trying to live their lives and put food on the table, which is becoming increasingly difficult because
yes.
the government keeps printing money and devaluing the dollar. It's tough out there, and so I get why people have a hard time, focusing on the minutia like that. That's a difficult thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, life gets in the way, and not everyone has the time to keep up with everything. I wish that more people would, because I mean, one of my main concerns, politically speaking, is definitely AI. I think that we're the it's a danger in a lot of ways. It's a danger economically speaking. I mean, if I don't know if you've seen, but Jack Dorsey announced,
Oh
he
yeah, box.
did all the layoffs, and those jobs got taken by AI, and it's also in with regards to like the justice system as well. I mean, what happens whenever AI is implemented into that, and also the surveillance state, DHS announced that they're trying to create this AI system to see if they can track down, potential illegal immigrants. And I mean, that is absolutely insane to me. But
Oh, the Republicans need to get slapped over this one, man. And it's so sad to me because like I saw it coming. It's like red meat for Republicans. We're gonna get those illegal immigrants, and we're gonna use this Palantir system. We're gonna have this database and all this AI shit. And there's like, yeah, as long as the brown people leave, I'm good. And it's like, dude, you have no idea that you're signing your own death warrant. Like this
yeah,
technology is being trained on the people that are not citizens that you're just like, yeah, do it, fine. As long as they get kicked out of the country, I don't care. And that shit is being trained and it's going to be used on you next time.
yeah. I mean, Tom Hallman is trying to if they find out that you're protesting against DHS, they're going to dox you. Right? They're going to find your employer. They're going to find your first and last name. They're going to get a picture of you, and we already I can't remember what DHS got caught recently asking for personal information. I can't remember who they asked, but they got caught, and um, they asked like thousands of times for this particular institution that they asked. I can't remember what it was, but again, I mean, people just don't see it deeply like that. They don't it doesn't click with them that there's an issue with AI and all of these sectors of society. And economically speaking, whenever uh, an economist, data analyst, programmers, I mean, this is stuff that AI can do, and we're seeing
Yep.
very rapid developments. I mean, if you went back in time to even just 2020 and you showed somebody like Grok or ChatGPT from today, it would be absolutely amazing to them. I mean, that would be unheard of. Go back 10 years, 20 years. I mean, um, the science fiction isn't becoming fiction anymore in a lot of ways. And, technology is rapidly advancing. I mean, the advancement of AI was like night and day. Like at one point it was, wasn't really there, but then the next day it's like now you have all these generative AI platforms like ChatGPT, Grok, Copilot, all these systems. And so it's a threat economically, and then especially with advances in robotics. I mean, if you've kept up with like some of the robotics China is doing, I
Yeah.
mean, there could be a point in time where um, a mechanic, a robot could do that job, A robot could go into a coal mine, a robot could, do electrical work on a locomotive. I mean, jobs that it would seem like AI wouldn't be able to take. I mean, it could take it with those advancements in robotics. But what's the end game if AI just does everything? Socialism. I mean, that's the end game. You're going to live in this society where, God forbid we get to that point, but AI, robotics, whatever, it does the work for you. What do you have? You're going to live in this, hyper, lenient and society. It's going to be very, very bad for freedom.
I think so. I think there's a lot of positives to it as well. Like the thing that you're scared of, rightly, because everyone's like, oh, what about my job? And everyone's thinking about their job. But it's like, ultimately, candle makers were really pissed off at Edison for coming up with the light bulb. But guess what? The light bulb was better. Like it's an improvement, So there's going to be some shifts. But I think the issue with AI that's going to be causing a lot of pain is how rapid the shifts are going to be. Like, I'm in the tech industry. They are cutting, like Amazon cut like 30,000 workers in the last 3 months. You talk about Dorsey's cuts, like all the major Meta, Google, like they're all cutting, and they're accelerating their development. It means they're doing more with less. So everybody that works in these companies now has to use AI, and you get graded on how much AI you're actually using and how fast you're going with it. So it's already transforming that space. Lawyers are going to be another one. Like basically, you're not going to need lawyers anymore for the most part. The standard people that do the paper pushing in the background, still trial lawyers, yeah, sure, you need to have somebody to argue a case, but accountants are going to go by the wayside. And I think you're right. As soon as you get this AI, these modules that are embeddable into human-like robotic systems, you're not going to have crab fishermen. You're not going to have high power line workers, right? You're not all the dangerous jobs like construction and sewers and like all that stuff is going to get taken away. Auto mechanics, and I think every house is probably going to have a robot. That's going to be able to do everything around your house, fix all your plumbing issues, like build an addition for like they can do anything because it's just downloadable data into an autonomous robot that articulates like human hands, right? I think you're going to be able to do a lot with it, and I think society become a lot richer because the cost of producing things is going to go down a lot. Question is, what are these people going to do for income besides that? I don't really know. I don't have a good answer. All I know is that human desires are infinite and resources are finite. So there's going to become some new thing that opens up. I think it'll get crowded. I think a lot of people are still going to pour into like the content creator space, and some things might become more niche. Like if it's almost like Etsy type of stuff made by a real human. Like that might become a thing that people prioritize and pay a premium for.
Yeah.
But I also see a return to analog coming. I think there's going to be almost like this mass like rejection of some of this stuff, and people are going to go Amish. Like people are going to go like, we're going to be like, we've seen enough. We're going to go over here and we're going to build our own parallel system that just like, we're going to use hand tools, not power tools. We're going to, churn our own butter. Like, I think that's going to become a real thing. I think people are going to opt out of the digital ecosystem. They're going to try to sort of escape some of this dystopian future stuff you're talking about.
Yeah. I mean, I think that people will definitely try to find an escape, but if something like the Terminator or the Matrix happened, then how easy would that escape be?
Yeah, dude.
It's also a question. And I mean, my another big issue is I think it kind of takes the humanity out of life. It takes the humanity out of like education, for example. And did you see the guest that Melania Trump had at the State of the Union, the little girl? Well,
I don't watch that stuff, man.
Yeah, I mean, well, I don't blame you for not watching it, but her guest,
especially Jeffrey Epstein's ex-girlfriend. Like, I don't want to have anything to do with her.
Well, but her guest was a little girl, and she was advocating for more AI in the classroom. That was the first lady's, guest to the State of the Union was advocating for AI in the classroom. It's like this is a child. I mean, she does not understand like what she's talking about. She doesn't understand, with education specifically, there needs to be some kind of human factor. And, I do get that there are a lot of bad teachers out there, but also, I mean, with AI, I mean, you're basically just creating even more slaves to the system at a much more dangerous capacity, I think.
Yeah, yes and no. Like if you let the government educate your kids. Yeah, but I've actually been saying that AI is a great tool if you know how to use it to educate your own kids. If you do what I believe you should do if you have children is not outsource the raising of your children to a third party. Educate them yourself. This is my spiel, man. Like I don't care who stays home, somebody should stay home. You should not have a kindergarten person raising your fucking kid. Like that's just out for me. You live a lower standard of living. You don't have all of the fancy shit if you need to downsize, downgrade. Some parent needs to be with that kid, and ideally that parent should be educating the child. And then a lot of people are like, oh, I can't educate. Yes, you can, especially now with AI, because you're not necessarily going to get back. Like you don't just turn over your education to it's like a tablet kid where it's like here's Grok, or here's Chat GPT, go learn something. Because I use this every day, like you can curate stuff. You can like, okay, I want to have, this is the education plan I want to have for the day. I want to teach my kid this, and this. It'll help you. It'll spit, especially things that are completely non-subjective, like mathematics and science. Like if you can't, with AI, like even if you're a dumb person, if you can't educate your child in 12 years better than the government teachers, you are retarded beyond belief. Like you
Yeah,
are
I'm
like
not gonna argue with
that
that.
you are a failure, right? Like I don't. So I think this is a thing where if it's harnessed appropriately, it can actually yield a whole bunch of good. I don't believe in the all good or all bad. I think it's going to be in the middle. But I am, like you, very concerned about the bad, particularly with respect to like war. I think we're seeing this
Yeah.
more automated drones. You're going to have these humanoid robots. You're going to, who the hell else knows what's going to be turned into AI enabled, bots and mini bugs and birds. Like you have no idea what's going to happen in the future, and it scares the shit out of me, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I just I think the bad outweighs the good. And I do think that it can be a tool, I mean, I'll be, sitting at home and, come across something on Twitter and then, I'll ask Grok like what it's referencing and, the historical aspect of it and stuff. And I think it's good for that. Like if you actually play around with it, you can learn a lot. But I do think that there are serious issues with, the human capability aspect of it. And people should take personal responsibility. I do believe that. But a lot of people aren't, and a lot of people don't. And that's unfortunate. And I think with AI, even if AI lies to you or whatever, they'll be able to believe it and they'll be able to become dependent or whatever else, and that's part of my concern as well. So
Yeah, and that's really hard, especially when you're going to start to see the feedback loop. I think we already seen this, right? So there's a lot of stuff that is AI generated. So AI does, I'm a computer science guy, so I kind of know how it works. But there's training models, right? And so all this training data is ingested by the system, and then now you have a lot of this stuff is AI generated going back into the loop, and then it's ingesting prior AI generated information, and then you start. That's where we end up with the term slop. It's got, AI slop that's being generated, and it's very difficult to suss out what's actually true, particularly when you have like Sam Altman, who's embedding his own or his company's own leanings into how ChatGPT responds to various things. People, you've already seen the edge cases where it's pointing out hypocrisy and social engineering and this woke shit they baked into it. That's a real problem too, for sure.
yeah, yeah, it's definitely, especially with like the images and videos. I mean, there's some of it that can fool you. I mean, it'll take a second glance to know if it's true or not. And scenario that I'm also concerned about is, you know, if someone was accusing you of a crime, like they could use AI to create fake security camera footage of you robbing a store, and I mean that's concerning as well. And the corruption aspect of that is very scary too. And also, I think there's also a huge issue with like the AI porn as well. There's going to be a huge generation of people that are gonna be slobs at their house, watching AI porn. Whenever the Tesla pleasure robot comes out,
Oh boy.
they're gonna they're gonna sit at their house and use their pleasure bot, and they're not gonna go out and find an actual human being. So, I mean that's also another concern, and then also the deep fakes too. Like the deep fake porn, like that is just absolutely insane to me. The fact that you can basically take a picture of someone and just make pornography out of it. I mean, I was, the one guy that goes on Dave Ramsey sometimes, and he's like a social
He's
worker.
the young guy. He's like the dark haired guy with
Yeah,
the
yeah.
tattoos and stuff. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I was scrolling through some of his videos last night, and one of them was a caller saying that like her stepdad had taken a picture of her and made the picture naked, and she found it on his phone. I mean, that is scary to me. That's insane.
Ugh.
And I mean, it's absolutely disgusting. And I mean, it's just adding to the pile of issues with AI that I have. So,
All right, man. Enough with AI because we're getting short on time, and I got 10 minutes left. I want
yeah,
to talk about Epstein, man, because that is like my number one issue. You probably see me crashing the fuck out. I was a
yeah,
victim of childhood
rightfully
sexual
so.
abuse, and it's very personal to me. And I know one of the victims had Juliet Bryant on my show. I crash out about this, and I think it's super important. And I think that we are all as a society looking around, being like, "What the fuck is going on with the Epstein files?" So
Yeah.
what's your take, man? Like, what's your analysis as far as how we've gotten to where we are, where we're at, what you think to be true? Like, how do you see all this?
Um, well, I think a lot of it we're not getting the full picture. You know, I was watching I've been watching a lot of videos from this guy on YouTube called Dr. G Explains, and he's a body language expert and a psychologist, and he like goes through all of the depositions and the videos and some of the files, and I mean there's just, you know, just clear issues with with how Jeffrey Epstein died, um how his
Did you hear
body
about the
was found.
prostate thing?
What was that?
Did you hear about the prostate thing?
No, I didn't.
Oh, I gotta tell you something. This is so cool. So you know how everyone is always assuming that this is not whoever's in the autopsy wasn't the real Jeffrey Epstein. Well, this is great. In the Epstein files, there's a bunch of emails about him having his prostate. He had a prostatectomy. And there's a bunch of just benign emails between him and his doctor or something. I can't remember the details, but he's saying, "I don't have a prostate anymore." It was taken out. He talked about the surgery. He talked about the
And
dates.
they
What's in
found
the
the
emails?
prostate on the body.
And if you read the autopsy, it says unremarkable, normal prostate, dot dot dot, and just sort of continued on.
Whoa.
That's a
You,
thing.
you cut out for like a couple seconds there.
Oh, no worries. I was just saying in the autopsy, it said that they just said unremarkable, normal, prostate, dot dot dot. Like,
Yeah, that's
and it's like, hmm,
I didn't even know he had his prostate removed. That's an issue.
it's
But
in the Epstein files.
yeah, and even with like how was the body was found. I mean, like have you seen like where they actually found the body?
Allegedly, yes.
How is he hanging there? Like there is no way. I mean, there is no way that somebody could hang and die there. I mean, that is insane. And then apparently, if you look at the testimony from the guard that actually found him, he didn't even know he was dead. Like he couldn't tell at first. I mean, if you're hanging, there should be some indication that the individual is dead. But the guard couldn't tell if he was dead. The only reason that the official narrative is that he was hanging is because the guard found the noose around his neck. He didn't even confirm if he actually was hanging. And then you look at like the neck wound, it doesn't go up like if you're hanging, it's basically right
Goes
there.
back.
As if
Yeah.
someone went behind him and, you know, strangled him. It's not as if he was hanging.
He had a broken hyoid bone, which is
Yeah.
absolutely rare in hangings and is more indicative of a strangulation. That's what the coroner found, so it was Dr. Michael Baden. He's like one of the famous, forensic pathologists. He reviewed the autopsy and was like, "No, the dude got murdered."
Yeah, so there's a lot of weird stuff with that.
What about the ambulances? The switcheroo at the ambulance.
Was that in the files?
This was in the files and the DOJ releases about it, and there was talking about how they rolled out a decoy into an ambulance, and then the press followed that, and then the real body was taken somewhere else in a different one. It's just like all this stuff.
Yeah,
The lack of the tattoo on the arm.
yes.
You see that? How he had the armband, and
Yeah.
that wasn't there. Like, I think he's still alive. I think that they exfiltrated him, and he's somewhere else.
I think it's very possible. The autopsy is just there's too many issues with it. But in some of the other files too, like Zorro Ranch, like the files saying that there's bodies buried there. Why is nobody going to the ranch and finding these bodies? The owner of the ranch.
Well, hold on. The ranch is owned by one of the MAGA guys now, one of the big, Trump supporters.
I did see that the guy did say that he would be open. He would allow them on to find them if they were there. But
that's not happening.
Yeah, but then the Bill and Hillary Clinton. I mean, just lying tooth and nail. It's all.
I don't know about Trump, man. You think Trump's a PDF?
Oh yeah, I think.
Okay, cool. I don't know, man. When I'm early, you know me, I'm always early. Like people catch up way down the road, and I was arguing with a lot of different people about this. not arguing necessarily, but back and forth. And they thought people think I'm crazy. Like I come up and I say something and it's like, well, yeah, you're going to find out in like a year or something. Like actually Amity was on my podcast, and that was what we talked about primarily. And she's just like, I don't see it. I can't believe it's true. And it's like, man, I thought this from a very early point. And everything that he does just reconfirms it to me. This sort of shell game of like, yeah, we'll do it. No, we won't do it. Then look over here. Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? Like, and then all the ways he tried to shut it down, and then the DOJ is redacting stuff, and then there's still there's like almost 700 gigabytes of data out of a terabyte or something that's not been released, and there's still 3.5 million allegedly files that haven't been released, and it's for national security or something. Like dude, and his name being redacted, and then the DOJ continuing to remove. Today there was a whole thing about as they're doing the war distraction, like you find the DOJ just keeps removing files.
Yes.
I think this and not just that, but all of the creepy behavior that he did before, him being sued for raping that 13-year-old Katie Johnson along with Jeffrey Epstein, the pageant stuff, the weird stuff with his daughter, even like the sexualization of his daughter. Like you just go down the list, and I'm just like, this guy is a fucking creep. And
his mannerisms are just very, very odd. The clip of Ivanka and him saying like the weird shit about her, it's just not, there's something weird with that.
What about the Howard Stern bit where he was talking about how he walks in on the Miss Teen USA pageant people? These are teenagers, like as they're changing, and they're naked and they're beautiful, and I can do it because I'm inspecting. LOL. And it's like, and it's the sum total of everything to me. I'm just like there's no doubt in my mind, but I still see people that are they just refuse to believe it. Like, no, he's protecting his friends.
I did hear about the pageant stuff too with that. I mean, it's just the evidence points one direction, and we all know where the direction is. And the denial from the right is just ridiculous to me. I mean, with like the Clinton depositions, like they asked Bill Clinton, is Trump implicated? He said no, and everyone's like, he's exonerated. Like, you think that Bill Clinton lied about everything else except that one detail. Like, I mean, he lied about all of it, including.
Well, and also it's weird too, because all of a sudden it's like, oh, I feel bad that Bill Clinton is being. I feel bad for him. I don't like to do that.
That's weird.
All of that weird stuff, and then wishing Ghislaine Maxwell well. It's like, oh, I wish her well, and like moving her to that cushy, Club Fed prison, then having the video of her, and everyone's like, that's not the same lady. And it's not the same person.
With Prince Andrew too. I mean, he was like saying it's so terrible that Prince Andrew got.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's not terrible that he got arrested. He deserves what he gets, and he's not getting he's not getting what he deserves. But you shouldn't be saying it's a terrible thing that he got arrested. And I mean that's just he said it about Clinton too, the Maxwell stuff. I mean, it's all just strange to me. I don't understand why the average MAGA person cannot look at that and not think that's weird. It's just
they've got something on him. There's something in those files. I'm sure that Israel has it. Russia probably has it. There's probably some state actors that have this information. Yeah. It just, that's the only thing that makes sense to me. Did I ever tell you my Russiagate conspiracy theory about this?
No.
So do you remember the Russiagate thing when Christopher Steele was pushing this, and he swore that the tape of Trump with the P tape with the Russian prostitutes was real?
Yeah.
I think that's real.
Yeah.
I think the Russiagate stuff was bullshit, but I do believe that the Russiagate thing was fabricated, but they included that nugget. And I think that was like a shot over the bow. It's like, yo, motherfucker. You remember that tape? We've got it. And I think that's going to be in the Epstein files. I think that's part of the thing that they're hiding. So anyway, I have no evidence of that, but just my pattern recognition thing is going off. And I'm like, I think that's real. I think that you're going to find something like that in these Epstein files, and probably a lot worse.
Yeah. Do you think Frazzle Drip is real?
What's Frazzle Drip? Oh, you got to educate me here.
It's kind of a part of the Pizzagate stuff with Hillary Clinton, but it's a video with one of her aides.
Oh, is this those 9 police officers that like watched it and ended up killing themselves?
Yes.
I don't know. I've heard that. I want to look into it more because that sounds like it might be true. I think you get
Yeah.
into these dark corners of the world, and if you expose something like that, it was off of Weiner's laptop, right? Anthony
Yeah.
Weiner.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I got to look into. Thank you. I need to dive into that. I need to study that more because that certainly is plausible. I don't know necessarily. So I'm gonna dive into that. But hey,
Yeah,
dude,
that's
we're up
like,
against time, and I don't want to be
no.
stepping on Free's toes. His show
Yeah.
is kicking off with Jacob and our good friend Derek Wills. It's going to be an awesome episode. So anyway, wrap it up, man. Tell everybody where they can find you. I love your content, love your account. I want more people to come check you out, brother.
Well, you guys can find me on X, Matthew Hunt, 2 uppercase I's. I mainly just comment. So yeah, that's where you can find me.
Awesome. Yeah, he's based as hell. Definitely check him out. And I look forward to seeing your arc in like 5 years when you're like grizzled like me. I want to see what you turn into, brother.
Yeah.
All right. You have a good night, man.
All right. Thank you.
Yep. Bye.